And welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast, the least professional podcast in the history of podcasts, which I think this may be the only one. Of course, I am Nik Cameron of Glacially Musical, joined by my good friend, a man with a hat, a man with a shirt, a man who's always trying to steal my style, Keefy Kleptomaniac. How we doing today, buddy?
Yowza, what an intro. I'm hanging in there, man. It's been a day. Let me tell you, it has been a day to see
That one was literally off the cuff.
traipsing. Well, sometimes you're good like that, and other times you struggle, but this time it was good.
I apologize for the interruption. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Of course, this is the Glacially Musical Podcast, a ghost cult joint, or doobie, if you prefer. It is a joint podcast with Glacially Musical and Keefy and all his business, and we'll get to that more business of that later. If you are here for the first time because you saw Divine Intervention and you love Slayer that much, I question a lot, but you found your tribe, so thank you for joining us. Please give us a 7 to 8 year trial. Here's how we do this each week for the new people. We greet, we beer, we vinyl, we news, we shirt, we meet. The meat of the day is, of course, Slayer, Slayer, defined. No, it is not. It is Slayer, Divine Intervention, their sixth album and their first without Dave Lombardo. We will be joined by Keefy's good friend, a man who I have been competing with for Keefy's affection, the most attractive man I have seen in some time, and the most attractive man whose apartment I have zoomed into. Oh. And we'll get to him later. So I'm going to start off with my beer check, and I got to double check because I got a new glass.
You didn't even mention his name. It's Omar Cordy.
I do know.
You was surprising it? I mean, like everybody
Yes,
knows. Omar cut
was,
this is a running joke, no?
I know that was intentional. It was
Should have told me.
Look, I'm gonna quote Gimli on that. That was intentional. That was intentional.
Don't tell the elf.
My beer of the week, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I went to a lobster thing at Second Shift Brewery a couple weeks ago. And while I had a lobster roll. They had Connecticut or Maine. The smart money is always on Connecticut, part of the tri-state area. So I hear, and that's where the real life soprano lived, according to Jim Gandolfini. But I got a Second Shift Brewery double IPA, just called the DIPA, and I am pouring this into a brand new glass. My Richard Gebhardt, House Majority Leader, thank you for your support mug.
What the fudge?
You don't know who Richard Gebhardt is?
Yeah, of course I do, but like, why do you have that?
Because I saw it at Goodwill and I thought, you know what I need more than anything?
Who in St. Louis had this that they put it in Goodwill? Like, what the fuck? I'm baffled by this.
Would you have not purchased it too?
I mean,
if it were one of your Congress
I would have
critters.
considered it. Was he a Missourian? A Missourian?
Yeah, he was, I believe he was District 2. Which I have never been a District 2er when he was in charge. But he was House Majority Leader. I mean, he was a pretty serious dude. And he had red hair like my family, so, I got that. Did the finger fudge pour, as you can see, that looks awful. I mean, that's what I got.
Fair enough. You know what I have as a non-beer? I have another Liquid Death.
Murder your thirst.
This is the Severed Lime. There might be a cool, fun Liquid Death thing popping up next week with Ghost Cult. Going right into my Glacially Musical poured glass one more time. There's no reason to pour this into a glass. I realized, like, while at the supermarket the other day, the entire purpose of these cans is to save water, and by putting seltzer into a glass that I then have to wash, I'm defeating the purpose. But anyway, cheers.
You hate the world. Cheers, my friend.
Justice and the planet and climate change, everything.
I hate my parents. I hate the world. I hate myself.
Goth music in a nutshell.
My Letterkenny fans will be on top of that one. So, my vinyl check this week. I don't have any vinyl news, but just in case Keefy gets to talk more than me, I'm throwing an extra record in there. Step 1. It is STP Purple. You may notice I have the mylar, or the shrink wrap is still on there. Hype sticker. This is a Walmart pressing. I got it on Discogs. When I was getting together a Duncan package, I asked Lawyer Wife if she wanted to help me fill it out, because I kind of like bought it due to an episode Duncan and I did. I started it because of an episode Duncan and I did, and I didn't really have anything in mind. So I said, what's really good for these packages is early 90s music. So she's like, STP Core. And I looked it up and I went, holy shit, the original pressings of that is not what we're doing here. And she's like, oh, well, give me a repress. Okay, so here we are.
Well, that's purple, not core.
Well, yeah, maybe core comes later.
Core's
but
first.
this is she
Core's
did
the
ask
debut
for.
album.
Yeah, I know, but I'm going in my order. I'm not going in STP's order, sir.
Her order, apparently.
Anyway, so that was we ended up getting. I'm like, oh, purple's cheap. Let's get that. She's like, okay, let's get that. It is a cool splatter. Oh, I didn't pull it out. Sorry about that.
It's the first time Nick has ever said that in his life. I didn't pull it out.
No, it is not. I have a kid. As you can see, it is a cool blue, sky blue and white splatter. Very cool. I was never the biggest STP fan in the world. I remember a good friend of mine who was the brother of the Urge's second drummer, John Pisoni. And he always talked about how much better STP was than Pearl Jam. And I'm like, oh, it's alternative, Metallica, Slayer. So I couldn't get into it. But I'm actually kind of getting, later on in life, I did get, some more stuff. And, I can appreciate them a lot more. The second record of and the reason why it is in the shrink wrap still is because I'm now putting everything into vinyl sleeves. So I finally have a stack of outer sleeves to protect my records. There may be a cat in here and it's dark. So if I get attacked, I'm sorry. The next record, Black Keys Dropout Boogie, one of their latest. I don't know if I've ever really mentioned it, but I'm actually a pretty reasonable sized Black Keys fan. I wouldn't call myself hardcore. I wouldn't call myself casual. Kind of in the middle there. And I really like their latter days, and I like their early days. So I've kind of got this really weird fandom. I like the beginning and I like the end. I'm not so much for the soft underbelly. And now the last record.
Was it a 3/4?
Yeah. So that way, because I don't have any news, so I don't want you to talk more than me. So I'm throwing another record in. This I purchased also in Rockford, Illinois, and we went to a couple of record stores. I only got one record because I was trying to be somewhat responsible, as you will find out through the next coming weeks. I have not been, but I love OG pressings, and I have been very on the record on this show that OG pressings are my personal favorite. Your mileage may vary, but for me, I find they sound better. They sound, to quote the rapper Atheist, later Rhyme Time, Scott Knopf, it just sounds, go ahead and unplug your iPod. My vinyl is liver. And I find that original pressings are liver than modern pressings. So I replaced one of my modern pressings. Styx, Mr. Roboto. When Steve Scavuzzo, and this is it's an original press, so there's no, cool colors or anything like that. But anybody who listened to the Steve Scavuzzo of Clouds Taste Satanic interview will recall us talking about that for some reason. I'm sorry, that is not correct. Steve Scavuzzo said he wanted to be on my other podcast, the Department of Metal Antiquities, and since I had that, I made him listen to it, and he did. And his response was, "Wow, this was a fun podcast. I'm going to go listen to a good Styx record now."
Brutal. Again, I asked the question on X today, or yesterday, and Duncan replied today. I was like, one has to wonder if Nick even likes Duncan on a spiritual level based on these album choices.
Okay, in all fairness, you said that based on our episode on the Paul Di'Anno vehicle, Killers, the album being Murder One. I had never heard it. So it's not like I knew. So
I knew. I could tell you.
Know.
I could have told you if you just asked me. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you like Duncan, don't do it.
The podcast is not Ask Keefy if these albums I've never heard suck.
That's totally fair. And the tagline of the podcast is, "We listen to records so you don't have to." It's a terrible Duncan imitation.
There are 3 taglines.
I'm sorry, Duncan.
There are 3 taglines. We listened, so you didn't have to. We listened, now it's your turn. And we listened in case you didn't have to.
Third one is a little squiffy. I don't know about that third one.
Well, the third one, that's for Spin It. There's a tagline for Spin It, there's a tagline for Bin It, and there's a tagline for Split.
Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. All right, that's a pretty good 3 right there. I am going to talk more on the front end of the pod, and on the chance that our guest does indeed make it, talk more at the less on the second half of the pod. But I have a 1.5 for, and I'm going to do the half real quick, just because I have it right here. Also in the shrink wrap. Look what I have. Anyway,
we did not plan that, and your pressing is different than mine. Yours is not the splatter like mine.
Actually, it is totally the splatter like yours. It's the blue. It says blue splatter Walmart.
Well, then that's a terrible hype sticker.
It might be a different splatter. It's very typical of the Walmart stickers. Same with Metallica. They're all pretty terrible. But actually, that's not my vinyl check. I do want to do this. I love this album, and I really want to do it on a future podcast. My actual vinyl check today.
I'm just going to throw this out there on the air, not putting you on the spot at all. But as we have gone 4 episodes in a row without a chaser, we can do 2 chasers. Just going to throw it out there.
We'll talk about it. I don't like doing 2 chasers, but maybe. Hey, audience, by the way, not only should you be subbed if you're listening and watching this, and you should be following Nick's podcast, the Department of Metal Antiquities. Not sure if it's on YouTube yet, but it's supposed to be.
We haven't done it yet.
Share this with your friends. I had really expected the Slayer episodes. Some of them have been bangers, and most of them have been good, and some of them have done well, but I had figured these would grow exponentially, and they really haven't. So if you're out there,
especially with the Slayer news of the reunion,
right. And the
I just thought we would get
album.
SEO stuff. Maybe I should talk to Rajesh and Hotep and Muhammad Asif that email me every day.
I don't know. In the time that we have done this podcast series, and this is the last Slayer episode today that I know of, unless we get DX Ferris on for a chaser. Kerry announced his record. Slayer reformed a week later, and then Slayer got announced for additional things. So I thought there'd be a little more. I'm happy, but I'd like to, I'd like some more interest. So if you got a friend that likes podcasts and Slayer or other things we do, please, get them to sub. Ask them to follow us. Tell them to check it out.
I mean, we hit that without knowing any of it. It's like, we put out the Slayer series. Kerry King puts out a single and a record. Look, Slayer's a thing again. It's like, oh, damn.
We could not know. We could not possibly know. Anyway, so that was my half a check, and now my full check is a pretty cool album. This is an EP on vinyl, which, I'm not always sure how that goes, but it's technically a full track listing. But it was officially an EP. This is Insight, Wake Up Dead. You may be familiar with this band's frontman, Richie Caballera, the son of Max Caballera. Richie
Keefy loves him some second generation.
I love some second generations and some crossover shirts and some all kinds of things. And trucker hats and big boobs and redheads. So this record's kind of a re-recording of some of their earlier stuff. It's got a new song with Max on it, with his son. Insight, for those not in the know, is a very machine-heady Lamb of God metal band. And they will go on tour with Max's bands. I picked this up directly from Richie when he was doing the merch sales for the Cavalera Brothers tour last fall. Currently, Max just wrapped up his tour with his Go Ahead and Die band with his other son, one of his other sons, Igor Amadeus Cavalera, and there's also Zion Cavalera, who also plays in Soulfly on drums. And so this is a pretty cool album. It has the double gatefold with all the lyrics. It's only 1 LP, so I know how Nick feels about that already. Not great.
You're spending extra money for something we don't need. Put it in the insert.
I like that the lyrics are there, but you're right. It would be less paper and cheaper theoretically cheaper with the insert. I think this was $25 at the show.
Cheaper.
$25 at the show.
I looked into pressing a friend of mine's record a long time ago, And for you have to be able to press and sell 300 of them to make any money. That's if you can't do that, it's almost no you're paying. But it was like $10. It was basically $10 all in per record. Because at 300 you could sell them for almost like $22, and it'd be. I mean, you're not going to make as much money as a CD because you can sell you get a CD for one and you can sell it for 10 or 7. But yeah, the gatefold was was a $2 adder. A 4-color cover was a $2 adder. Swirl was an adder. So the cheapest you can go is no insert, 3-color cover, and you're looking at like at the time. Now, mind you, this was years ago. It's like $10, $10 a record for 300. So you're dropping $3,000. Just, I mean,
Right. And they're on have been on some labels, so I think it's okay. I would say like just the original EP of 5 songs on a vinyl, I don't know how worth it the double gatefold is with the extra bonus tracks that do not come on anywhere else. I like that it's on the side B of the vinyl. It did
that
come
is
in the
cool.
mylar with the paper for the added effect, and just a good old
That's also an adder.
just a good old vinyl pressing with the really cool. I do like this side. This black side is the official original EP, and the blue side is the bonus content with bonus content written in white under their logo.
Interesting.
And that's already in an outer sleeve. So yeah, man, vinyl good times. For news this week, we're gonna do the thing.
have one short one.
Keep it real short, because I have a
Real
really
short.
long one.
Hatebreed and Carcass are touring and coming to town, so guess who's going to see some Carcass?
Are you gonna leave after Carcass? I hope not.
Maybe.
Oh, don't do it. Please don't.
It depends upon if I have a friend with me. Although I think friend of the show, Danny Nichols, was probably going to go to that show, so I'll probably.
You might.
I'll
I mean, Hatebreed is fun to watch. I wouldn't sit around
Okay, I'll give it.
listening to their records.
I don't like their records, but I'll give it the old college try.
If you're feeling down and out, Hatebreed is a good band to list. They will pump you up for the gym.
If you're feeling down and out, there's only one thing that's going to bring you up.
Schneef?
Cold gin.
Cold gin. All right. I knew that was coming. All right. So, big news. I have the Record Store Day list finally, and we're going to whip through this.
All I'm going to do is
smash or pass.
Yeah, okay.
Smash means buy, pass means pass. And
Yes.
we're going to whip through this list because I've been promising this for quite a while. I'm going to move the list into my screen so I can see
Look at this.
it.
Looks like butterbeer.
It does a little look like butterbeer. I've never read, watched a second of Harry Potter, could not care less.
Oh my God, you're so cool. You're like me with Lord of the Rings till I met my wife. Go ahead. Oh, by the way, I'm mentioning my kid. She's awesome and has great music taste. She got a Strokes record today.
That's pretty cool. I have no complaints. Your kid rules. All right. 1, 2, 3. Smash or pass the entire Record Store Day. Rock, metal, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of punk. All right. Ready?
Cool.
100 Gex Snake Eyes 10-inch vinyl.
Pass.
10,000 Maniacs playing.
Pass.
Okay. Acid King, middle of nowhere, center of everywhere.
Pass.
All right. America, live from the Hollywood Bowl.
Hard pass.
Amorphous, My Cantele.
Pass.
Apocalyptica Worlds Collide Deluxe Edition.
Oh, big pass.
Oh, no Apocalyptica love, huh?
No Apocalyptica.
I know.
Sorry,
This
I
is
love the idea, but I don't like the.
execution. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's kind of like an Andy Kaufman show where he reads The Great Gatsby. It's a great idea as long as you're not at the show.
Yikes. Asking Alexandria, Reckless and Relentless.
Pass.
At the drive-in.
I would have considered Alaska.
Okay. You're thinking of Between the Buried and Me. Anyway,
There's an album by Asking Alexandria. I don't remember what it was. It's not that one.
they have a good one. They have one good one. It's true. At the drive-in in Casino Out.
Pass.
At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul.
Ooh, smash.
It's been reissued before. I have a copy of it, but
I don't have it, and At the Gates is great.
they are. I know none of these are a smash for you, but the Record Store Day does these little Record Store Day tiny 3-inch records on record players.
So stupid.
Beatles, 4 singles, 3-inch singles. Anyway.
And you got to buy the stupid 3-inch record player.
And you have
play
to buy the
those
stupid 3-inch
things.
record player. And very underrated band. I'm not sure how much this is worth it. Black Breath, box set exclusive, 5 LPs or cassettes.
Black Breath. I have one of their records.
I don't know if a 5 LP set and how much that's going to be, but like it's tempting.
Okay, 5 LP set on Record Store Day is always a pass.
Fair enough. Black Crowes, Wanting and Waiting single, 7-inch vinyl.
Hard pass.
Hard pass. Blur Park Life, 30th anniversary. The Body Snatchers, not Body Snatcher, the hardcore band, but the Body Snatchers.
Pass.
Also, the hardcore band Body Snatcher, Vile Conduct.
That's funny. Pass.
That's a buy for me. Some rap. Boogie Down Productions, Edutainment, never been on vinyl. Get on Down. 2 LP.
I'm not familiar, so I got to pass.
It's KRS-One. It's my favorite rapper ever.
Oh, it's KRS-One. MC Lars, big fan. Friend of the show, MC Lars.
Friend of the show, MC Lars. We're going to get MC Lars, I bet you. Mark Bolan and T-Rex Zinc Alloy 50th anniversary.
Not the one. Not the one. If it were Electric Warrior, it'd be a hard smash. But
Fair enough.
As it is, pass.
Fair enough, fair enough. Just checking to see if we've got a check-in yet from Omarius. Not sure if he's making it, but all right. The Bottle Rockets, the Brooklyn Side 30th anniversary.
Yes.
How is that record 30 years old? David Bowie, Waiting in the Sky. I think this is some Ziggy Stardust outtakes.
No, I don't buy outtakes to begin with.
Fair enough. Billy Bragg, Bloke on Bloke Cooking. Oh, Cooking
Pass.
Vinyl's a label. Pass. Jeff Buckley and Gary Lewis, Songs to No One.
Is it a smash if I bought it for my child because she was with me?
Could be.
Then that's a smash.
Here's one I think you will want. Buena Vista Social Club, self-titled.
I don't know them.
What?
I'm sorry, I don't know everybody.
Okay. I'm shocked. World Music.
I have 1,200 records. Is that? I mean, there's a pretty good breadth. I'm sorry that I don't know everyone.
I'm a little surprised. Kate Bush, Eat the Music. 10-inch.
Pass. We just bought a Kate Bush record, actually.
Fair enough. Captain Beefheart, The Spotlight Kid.
Pass. I can get Captain Beefheart records all day long for like $4.
Yeah. At Record Exchange. Eric Carr from Kiss, Unfinished Business, the deluxe
That's
edition.
a smash for me, but only if I come across it. If I don't find it on Record Store Day, that's going to go to Kiss Flippers and fuck those guys.
Well, just to let you know, you can now get, if you don't want to participate in the typical Record Store Day experience, which we will talk about more as we get closer to it, they do now have the Record Store Day Exchange, where you could go into the exchange and find the record stores that have the thing you want and ship it to you. Just saying.
That's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. Why? Who asked for this? Who needs
Smash.
this? Yeah, I know, but who needs it?
Me? I don't have it.
All right. De La Soul live at Tramps 1996.
Pass.
Tramps, where I saw many concerts. I wish I had seen them. Dead Milkmen, Bucky Fellini.
Pass.
Def Leppard, I don't know why they keep doing this. One Night Only live at the Lead Mill 2023.
Not just a pass, but break it.
Oh, brutal. Dio for the 19th Record Store Day in a row. The Last in Live, 40 years of Last in Live, BMG 12-inch picture disc.
Oh, God, no.
Fuck no, right? All right.
Picture disc? Fuck that noise.
We're going to, Omar's in the chat ready to come in, so we're just going to blast through the rest of these. The Doors live at the Connoisseuret, Stockholm, I can't pronounce words, live 1968 box set.
68, pass.
Dr. John, Grizz Gumbo, the
Pass.
singles.
Dr. John, again, all day long, $4.
Right. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Pictures of an
Pass.
Exhibition, picture disc. Why?
Nobody asked for that.
This next one's a buy for me. Enslaved, Vikingler Veldi. That's their original demo. I'm buying that.
Oh, pass.
Oh, no.
I don't buy demos.
Crossover Thrashers XL, closely related to Suicidal Tendencies, Seeking Refuge. Not their best record, but a good record. That's
Pass.
a buy for me.
I'm a very, very minor crossover fan.
Fair. Fleetwood Mac Rumors picture disc.
Hard pass.
Ace Frehley 10,000 Volts picture disc.
Hard pass.
Grateful Dead box set.
Hard
Another
pass.
one. Thank you.
Throw it away.
Grohl, Benante, and Ian. That's that GBI hardcore supergroup of metal guys. Foo Fighters and Anthrax. The Regulator MRI 7-inch vinyl.
Hard pass.
That's a hard buy for me.
7-inch. No. Make a record.
This is fascinating. Vince Guaraldi, it was a short summer Charlie Brown because they have reissued the Charlie Brown Summer Camp animated TV special, and now the soundtrack is coming out for the first time ever.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Oh no, Vince Guaraldi. George Harrison, 2 reissues, not sure why, Electronic Sound and Wonderwall.
Again, can get those at Vintage. I can get those at Record Exchange all day long.
Yeah, these are picture discs, also don't want them. His Infernal Majesties, him, Bury Me Deep Inside Your Heart.
Pass.
Horse the Band and Natural Death.
Pass.
Iggy and the Stooges live at Luxarkey Ferriston.
Pricing is pricing dependent.
Yeah, one single EP LP. Dirgish Burgy, Dirgy Burgy. In this moment, Star-Crossed Wasteland.
Pass.
Elton John Caribou 50th Anniversary 2 LP.
Pass.
Fascinating pick right here. Jucifer, Calling All Cars on the Vegas Strip. Maybe.
I don't know.
All right. Lordy, Bend Over and Pray to the Lord 2 LP.
Pass.
Meat Puppets live in Montana.
Nah, it's gonna be too. I would be interested, but it's gonna be record store day pricing, which will price me out of it. So
Possibly. Here's some blues for you. Memphis Slim, Sonny Boy Williamson, and Matt Murphy reissued 1963 Blues Festival concert.
I'm sorry, is that Matt Guitar Murphy?
Yes.
Ooh.
Memphis Slim, Sonny Boy Williamson, and Matt Guitar Murphy.
That's wow. Yeah, that's a smash.
That's a smash, right? I think even I might buy it. I'm just letting the Omar know.
Love me some old school blues.
If you're a fan of Taco Bell and punk rock and Taco Bell commercials, Military Gun Life Under the Sun EP. a record Omar would buy if he bought records. The Monkeys, the Birds, the Bees, and the Monkeys.
Again, you can get Monkeys $5 all day long. Why?
Soundtrack shite. Ennio Morricone, Orca, the music from the motion picture LP.
I have all the Enrico Morricone song I need on all my Metallica live albums.
Ecstasy of Gold. Also, Storia de Vita del Malvita.
Pass.
Also pass, yep. Motley Crue Supersonic Demonic Relics. I don't know what this is. Picture disc. Get out of here.
You know what it's not? It's not the self-titled.
That's right. Here's another one. Every record store day, Motorhead seems to have a release no one asked for. I love Motorhead to death, but Remorse? No! Sanctuary Records 2 LP. This is like demos and assorted crap. Nope.
Pass.
Nope. Mr. Big, The Big Finish,
Pass.
Lean Into It Live. Mudhoney Suck You Dry box set, 5 LPs.
That's a good thing. I'm just not a Mudhoney guy.
Another Nas LP for Record Store Day, Remixes
Pass.
and Rarities, Elmatic. I bought the one last year. It was written, don't need it.
I completely missed hip-hop from like 1996
Yeah.
to like 2010, except for Nelly. So
Okay, fair
sorry.
enough. Willie Nelson and Friends, Willie Nelson live 90 years old last year, concert.
Pass. Seeing him this year, though.
Fair enough. Offspring Splinter 20th anniversary.
Ugh.
Nope.
Nope.
A lot of Paramore records, don't need them. David Byrne and Paramore, why? There's some very cool jazz stuff, but I'm
Who
skipping
asked
it.
for that?
Alan Parsons Project Pyramid Work in Progress.
Pass.
Pearl Jam's one version of their brand new album is coming out on Record Store Day, Dark Matter.
Pass.
A band that has previously been interviewed twice by Ghost Cult Pigs, live at the KEXP Missing Piece Records.
That's a pass for me just because I don't know it.
Oh, good band, though. Pixies live from Red Rocks, 2005.
I would have interest. However, Record Store Day pricing is going to be more than I'd be willing to pay for it.
Fair enough. Yet another Ramones record, the 1975 Sire demos.
Oh. How can that be any different than what they put down?
Yep. Rolling Stones, no. Todd Rundgren, fuck no. Schoolie D, Saturday Night the Album.
Oh, God, hard smash.
Yeah, right? Also, Gil Scott-Heron and Brian Jackson, Winter in America, first time on vinyl. In a long time. Not ever, but I might have to.
Just for the record, when Schoolie D went into the studio to record the Aqua Teen Hunger Force soundtrack, he hadn't written it yet. When the red light went on, he didn't have it yet.
All right. Just finishing this up really quick. You've been very patient. Screaming Trees, Strange Things Happening, demos.
Hard no.
I love the band, but maybe no. Seven Dust Heavier Than Seven is a compilation. No. Susie and the Banshees Nocturne,
Nope.
maybe. Sisters of Mercy, Body and Soul,
Nope.
with Walk Away. Sleater
You
Kinney.
you like the alterna goth stuff more than I do.
Much more, yes. We're going to do one band soon, promise. Sleater Kinney, this time here today.
Letterkenny?
Sleater Kinney, not Letterkenny.
How are you now? Good, and you?
Stop it.
No.
That's a no for you. A band that I will be checking soon is putting yet another Record Store Day record out. The Slits.
Dio?
The Slits. Phenomenal ska punk band from the 70s and 80s. The Beginning. It's a maybe for me. Probably going to get that one. Last few. Slum Village, Detroit Deli. Slum Village, good
familiar,
hip-hop
so it's a
band.
no.
Yeah, you might like them. Not Soft Cell is a no for
like
you.
wait, what's Soft Cell?
Non-stop Exotic Cabaret.
Oh, Hella Smash.
Oh,
well,
okay.
no. That's a $5 record. Why am I going to give you 40?
Exactly. Sonic Youth Hits Are for Squares, no.
No.
Sponge, Planet Girls,
No.
Lost Album, no, even though I love the singer. Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros, this album is
No.
25 years old. Rock, Art, and the X.
Joe Strummer belongs in the Clash and nowhere else. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I got a couple Clash records.
Ted, Infrared Riding Hood, great album. Not sure I want it on vinyl though.
Would be interested, but again, I feel like that's just going to be one of those. $25, I see it, yeah, I buy it. But Record Store Day, not going to be that.
Corey Taylor, outtakes and demos. Who gives a shit?
Nope.
Team Sleep, I'm probably gonna buy this. It's a side project from Chino of Deftones. Sister Rosetta Tharpe live in France '66.
Ooh, that could be
Curious.
Curious.
Thin Lizzy live at Hammersmith '76. Maybe.
Nope. I got the Live and Dangerous. I'm good.
My Life with a Thrill Kill called Cooler Than Jesus.
That's a no for me, dog.
And Frank Turner, Girl from a Record Shop 7-inch. No, even though I love him. Ultravox Steven Wilson remixes. Ugh.
No.
No, even though I love Steven Wilson. And finally, Zappa for President, Frank Zappa 2 LP reissue.
Hard no. And before we bring in our guest this week, one thing I wanted to point out, since Schoolie D comes up and it reminds me of Oxy and Hunger Force, as we have discussed earlier in this year, I am seeing Foreigner for the I've lost count how many times. And every time I go see Foreigner with Lawyer Wife, I say I am going to buy a shirt with Carl Bertanananowski from Oxy and Hunger Force wearing the Foreigner belt. I still have not found it, but I need to make this happen. So if anybody can find it, great.
All right,
And
let's bring in our
with that-
guest.
All right, go ahead. And we are joined by a mahogany god, a man with ropes for hair that bring me to my knees. Of course, I am talking about Omar Corduroy Pants, my love rival for Keefy. How are we doing today, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Nice to be here for the first time.
Did you just call me Matt?
No.
Are you sure? I heard Matt.
I said I'm happy to
It's
be
very
here.
rude not to call somebody by their proper name.
Whatever, dude.
Did anybody get the joke? Is it just me? Because, I mean, that was a joke.
I got the joke, yeah.
Okay.
It's like the Sister Wives edition, except without Duncan.
We should have brought him. You know what? Somebody call him. Get his ass up. It's only 3:30 in England.
He's got a baby. I wouldn't be trying to call him unless his house
The
is on
kid's
fire.
not a baby anymore. It's a toddler now.
Really? Okay.
There's a big difference, bro. There's a big difference.
Yeah, toddlers are way worse.
Shit if I know.
I know.
Been there, done that. Got the
Anyway,
t-shirt.
so Keefy, explain who Barbados Slim here is.
Barbados Slim. For anybody that watches the show and has heard the numerous references to Omar Cut This is Omar Cordy, the co-owner of GhostCultMag.com, with me, known for 26 years, Jesus Christ, and
Superstar.
metal drummer, dad, tech whiz, and chief of everything, spinner of many plates. I don't know. I'm not as good as glowing up as you are, Nicholas. I think that's fair enough, right? Is that anything else? I leave something out?
No, everything sounds pretty. I accept it all. You could say happy birthday. I'll take
Rick
happy
Darris
birthday.
is an arch coxman. Anyway, happy post-birthday. Omar's birthday was St. Patrick's Day.
It only weighs 3.2 pounds.
Right. Yeah, anywho, that's about it. Omar, by the way, is not sure he's a big vinyl person, but he is a huge consumer of music. We met each other playing gigs together and going to many shows together in New York City. And Omar, we brought Omar on for this because Omar's first Slayer record was Divine Intervention, just based on age and gauge. And he loves that album and he loves Slayer. And I feel like he's a very good authority on talking about the Slayer comeback and as we
That
wrap
was my
up
first Slayer record contemporarily.
yeah, like talking about the Slayer end of our series, I thought it would be good to just bring in, shoehorn in a guest, so we did.
So we're not doing Diabolus and Musica then.
Unless it was up to you, you said no. I wanted to, but also
That's a good record. That's
I
a good
love that
too,
record.
man.
No. I need to save that record for Duncan. I
Okay.
got to make Duncan do that one.
I also listened to God Hates Us All today because I hate myself. And
You
I
know
like
what?
that record.
I had that record on vinyl, and it's like 12 in the morning. I'm at my old place where the sitting room's next to the bedroom, and I'm listening to it, and it's quiet, and I'm like, this sucks. This is just awful.
Interesting.
And I will explain that as we go forward. But
I think the later
explain it now.
albums, I think the later albums without Jeff are really not good. And
only
God
one.
Hates Us All,
No, it's
and
no Dave.
Repentless, yeah. Well, I was saying, like, yeah, post day is not into. I don't want to blame Paul, and that's why Omar is partly here to not blame Paul for things. But like, because I meet people like Paul just sucks. He's not Dave. It's like that's unfair. But we'll get into it. I think, in hindsight, Divine Intervention and God Hates Us All are much better than they were received at the time.
Yes.
And Diablo
However-
Musica is worse than it was
No, it's better.
retrospectively.
But these albums are only good when they're really loud.
That's also true. This could be a thing with Slayer. It just needs to be played.
No,
loud.
I can listen to the earlier records at a reasonable volume where my family's not knocking on the door saying, finish your beer, go to bed. This is really loud. God Hates Us All has got to be, I mean, it's got to be pounding you in the eardrums or it sucks. That is just all there is to it. If you listen to it at a normal listening volume, you hear how deficient it is. And with that, let us move forward. Instead of us round tabling each other, we're gonna catch hands real quick if we keep this up. Cyber hands, of course, because we're in 3 different time zones. But right now, we're going to get back to the year 1994. I have one of my very first steady girlfriends. Her name is Karen. I regret everything about that part of time in my life, except when I went to Sam Goody Music and bought Slayer's Divine Intervention. 1994. We are in the back 9 of the first Clinton administration. We are 4 years away from the first presidential impeachment of my life. Now it's been, I think 13. And America is still respectable at this point. We have not gotten completely embarrassing and off the wall, off the rails yet. America goes straight up Amtrak at about 2002, I think. So we still got about 10 years of being able to hold our heads high for this country. We are not getting the serious conservative backlash for anything. We are getting great music. Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, Testament. They are all going strong. We are in this wonderful thrash revival. Pantera has just dropped Far Beyond Driven, which is their most diverse record to date. I guess to date. That's not really fair because they stopped making records a minute ago. But it's a great time for metal, even if metal's not really selling. We are 3 years from Ozfest, and 4 years from my first time seeing Slayer in the 1998 Ozfest, where I got 35 minutes of Slayer, which is a great number of minutes for Slayer, because they hit you and they go and you want more. It's not like when I saw them last time and they played for 2.5 hours and you're like, that's a bit much. It's like, what's his name? The boss, what's that guy's name? Bruce Springsteen. It's like a Bruce Springsteen. It's not like a Bruce Springsteen concert where it's really long, not that great, but wow, what energy. And so Slayer has their very first personnel crisis. One of the things we discussed in the beginning of this series is how for the first 10 years of Slayer, it wasn't like Poison or Def Leppard or, God forbid, Iron Maiden, which parted dudes out like they were playing poker with people. they had 4 guys that got together in some wacky ass suburb of Los Angeles. I'm sorry, I don't know which one. There's 406. We all know that. It might have been Orange County, might have been Los Angeles. I don't even know. Whatever county they were in. And then we get to 1994, and it's announced that Dave Lombardo is no longer with the band. Dave Lombardo exits Slayer after arguably Slayer's best record. It may not be your favorite, but it's their best.
According to the book, by the way, the DX Ferris book, he quit at the end of 92, and they went through a period of time where they didn't really announce the drummer, but they knew it was going to be Paul. Because Paul was with Exodus, and they were going under.
I can remember when, oh God, I lost it.
Good. Pick it up.
I did see Forbidden not long after this, and they complained about having lost their drummer. I wonder why. They were playing an old movie theater with Malevolent Creation and local openers while Slayer's playing their big deals. But Seasons in the Abyss may not be your favorite Slayer record, but it is the best Slayer record. It's a lot like, in my humble opinion, comparing Pink Floyd The Wall versus Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon might be your favorite, but The Wall is the best.
Hard
I said what I said. Thoughts?
Hard to disagree. I don't think Omar cares and has a choice, but I disagree completely. By the way, so they didn't really announce Paul until kind of late in the PR cycle. Like, we're still pre-internet here. Some people started to have email in 94, right? So
I mean, can you picture that for a second? When you think about Metallica now or whatever, anybody now, Iron Maiden teases their recording senjutsu by showing a picture of Eddie in front of a recording device and on Twitter, and we're all like, ooh, is that a record? And then there are 457,000. Fix it, Omar. Fix it, Omar. Fix it. Don't cut it. Splice it. Splice it. Splice it, Omar. So we're talking about an era, yes, where Keefy pointed that out wonderfully. Iron Maiden puts out that photo of Eddie, and they're like, "Oh my God, are they recording?" And there's 457,000 articles about it. A musician puts out a tweet, and all of a sudden, Louder Sound, Classic Rock, Harder Than Hell, they're all putting out articles based on a tweet. In 1994. If you were trying to get heavy metal news, you had a couple of places. You had Headbangers Ball, which had just died. You had Hit Parader. Oh, I'm sorry, that had just died. You had Rolling Stone for the top 1% of the 1% of heavy metal. And you had this little bitty teeny tiny magazine that I don't recall where I used to get it, but it was like a 7-inch. Like if a Rolling Stone was a 12-inch size record, this was like a 7-inch. It was this little bitty thing, and I remember them talking about that. And then there was an interview. Tom Araya was on Super Rock, which I'm sure no one remembers Super Rock. I know Keefy does because we've talked about it. Super Rock is the greatest show of all time. It had a really hot lady host who really knew her metal, and they did metal and they did hip hop. It lasted 3 weeks, and Tom Araya was one of the few people that were interviewed on that show. And I remember the discussion being along the lines of, we're not here to slag on Dave, but all the problems we ever had in this band were here when Dave was here, and now we don't have those problems.
I do want to say, I know I read a couple of Slayer books, and again, just citing this out, I've been listening to the DX Ferris Slayer podcast, and it reminded me of a thing in the book that I had kind of like learned and forgot, which is, Omar doesn't know this, Nik and I have been talking about like the songwriting credits and like why did Dave Lombardo never get one writing credit in Slayer? And do you know why that is? Because Jeff Hanneman plays drums, and not only did Jeff Hanneman play drums, he played the demo drums on every single song he ever wrote. And since we already know that Jeff is the writer of most of the great Slayer songs, including the da-da-da-da-na-na-na-na-na-na, that drum part is attributed to Jeff, not Lombardo.
That sucks.
It sucks so bad. I never knew this. I know. I love Slayer. I saw Slayer the most times until their retirement.
But Jeff couldn't play it like...
No.
Like,
of course not.
I'm just going to throw this out there real quickly, and then unless Omar has something he needs to get off his chest, we'll go to track by track. I never saw Slayer with Dave Lombardo.
Wow.
Once Jeff, no Dave.
I've seen Slayer with Lombardo, John Deddy, and Paul Bostaph. The
Wow.
first time I saw him was Undisputed Attitude, and that's when that
I'm
was the
sorry
first
to hear
tour they
that.
played. No, it's fine, man. I got Gemini out of that album, so I can't hate that record.
All right.
Just listen to Gemini. Gemini's great.
Gemini
you.
is
You do
Gemini's
you, and
great.
I'll do me, and I think about you when I do me.
Yeah. And I will say before Divine Intervention came out, Paul's first appearance on a Slayer track was the exploited cover on the Judgment Night soundtrack with Ice-T, Disorder.
Wait a minute, I have that soundtrack. I didn't realize Paul was on that.
Yeah, I asked Paul, like, when I met him, like, a couple years back when they were playing, like, I think it was Ozfest or something, because I was, like, so, like, obsessed with this record because that was my first Slayer record, and, like, the snare drum just sounds like a bat being hit every time. And I asked him about that album, and, like, what was his first song he recorded? He said it was this song, Disorder.
All right, then. All righty. With that, let us now look into, let's get in the Wayback Machine back to 1994, back to when Slayer changes it all up.
Young Slayer.
Not really. Old young Slayer, or young old Slayer. Middle-aged Slayer. We're middle-aged.
By the way, yet another record with Rick Rubin, still going to the well.
Rick Rubin is a producer savant. I mean, he's a nut bar, but...
And a growing production credit for Slayer. And Toby Wright, best known for his work with Alice in Chains and other bands.
And his best-known work, I believe, is the Lost Kiss record, Carnival of Souls. Which me and like 15 other dudes really dig.
Hey, it's no Psycho Circus, but, you know.
No, I take, them's fighting words. It's way better than Psycho Circus and nearly as honest. Anyway, so
I think the Toby connection is with Tom Araya, because they were doing the Titans, was the Clash of the Titans tour, and Tom Araya is on an Alice in Chains song doing backing vocals.
Yes. It's like a throwaway track on Dirt, and they recorded, and Toby recorded Tom, and
all those tracks are throwaway.
You stop it! You shut your whore mouth in my presence.
Wow.
No one disparages John Bonham or Alice in Chains in my presence ever. I'm looking right into camera. Never ever.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this: one of the worst concerts I ever saw. Alice in Chains.
Drugs are a terrible thing.
No, I was a teetotaler then.
Talking about them, not you.
Oh, well, yeah, that is true. Okay, fair enough. Lane and Jerry were the worst parts. Unfortunately, the rhythm section, which is my least favorite part of a band, were great. Anywho, so yes, we still have...
Funny that the two co-hosts today are the rhythm section of a band. Anyway, continue.
Shall I get my guitar and play some lead? I mean, I will.
You shouldn't.
I will not. That was actually a bluff.
I'll plug in my electric kit to this computer and we'll do a thing. Let's go.
Let's not do that. Anyway, moving forward, Divine Intervention. If you noticed me making reference to carving Slayer into your arms, that is the inside cover of this record. This is also probably my favorite Slayer cover. It makes no fucking sense because it's got like some alien bullshit on it with like, and then like it's got like a skeleton that's like presenting himself from the butt side. Then it turns into a nose, so the butt goes into the nose, and when he expires, because he became a skeleton, the ook goes from his butt into the nose. So we know what killed the alien. Wow, I'm digging deep into this. Anyway, moving forward.
It's also a pentagram.
Yeah, it's the Slayer pentagram with a skeleton presenting its butthole over a nose.
Right. It's like they were definitely like obviously no Dave, but they went back to Rick and they used Wes Ben Scotter, who was mostly known for death metal stuff, to reimagine the Slayer pentagram. That's what that is. It's weird to me that they didn't just make a clean break and completely do everything different, but I guess maybe they were scared.
Oh, you mean like straight up Saint Anger stuff?
Too soon for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slayer's Saint Anger is not this. Go ahead.
No, they don't have one.
They might.
Wait, no, they do. It's World Painted Blood.
Oh, I like that record.
That album sucks ass.
Christ Illusion is the worst one, for sure.
Yeah, I'll go Christ Illusion.
Christ
I'm gonna have
Illusion's
to go Christ Illusion.
almost,
You know what? I
it's
actually
almost
completely-
a terrible record.
No, it is. I had actually
that
completely
cult song
erased.
is alright.
I had completely erased Christ Illusion from my memory. That, oh god, that is.
Just laughed like Lisa Simpson on mute. I wish you had heard it.
I remember listening to that and thinking, "Wow, you did South of Heaven again, but you're old and this is awful. I hate you." Moving forward,
We know what's the worst. We'll do if there's time, we'll do the tier ranking later. Let's blast through this. Go.
All right, Killing Field. You want to talk about a little bit of awkward Slayer? Here we got it. We have Paul Bostaph, who is a traditional thrash drummer. So you want blast beats? You got them. You want dynamics? Maybe not. But everything else is pretty good.
You're off your chain, my friend. Keelan Fields, that first track with that triplet like intro, that thing was just like, what the hell am I listening to? Because this was like, I was like, what, like 14, 15? I don't even remember when this first came out, and I got it in high school, like, because my friends were talking about them, and it's like, oh, check out Slayer, and I was like, checked it out, and that track just blew me away. I was like, wow, I don't know what he's doing, but at the time, that was like the most intricate like piece of music I've ever heard.
I think you misunderstand. I like the song. I really enjoy it. It's an awkward feeling with Paul Bostaph on the drums. He doesn't know how to Slayer yet.
If you're coming from the Lombardo camp, I'm not coming from the Lombardo camp. So like your feelings towards Bostaph for me are reversed. Like I like Paul. Like Paul is like, I like Paul's like, he's not as loose as Dave. He's more like just militant and like he's more tight, and Dave is more loose. So when I hear
True.
the reverse, when I hear him play like Dave songs, like that's how it sounds to me. But when I heard Dave play his own songs and some of these songs later on in the years, it sounded weird. Like I like the early records. I like Rain and Blood and Black Magic and everything else. I like all the old stuff too. But for me, like this was my introduction. So this record and what was the next one? Like
nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, so I didn't have it.
I'm totally the same way. No, you have it now though. Same way for me. For me, my first record was Black Sabbath Live Evil, and to this day, live albums are the best, and Dio's greater than Ozzy. I said what I said.
All right,
Whatever. I'll just add that Slayer loves songs about war. This is another song about war. Great lyrics by Tom. Tom is really, we talked about on Seasons. Tom has really come into his own as a lyricist. All music by Kerry for the rarely Kerry dominating side one of this record, but Jeff certainly dominated side two.
Might be Carrie's best song, musically.
The song, really? Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right.
Moving on to track 2, Sex, Murder, Art. We are punkier. We are more depraved. I don't need this one, quite frankly.
Omar?
I am trying to remember that one. Six Road to Art. I know it's fast. It's the shortest song on the record. I know that. They just get right through it with that one. And I think it just goes. It's like, I guess this whole record didn't really have time to like, oh shit, I got a new drummer. All right, well, you kind of have to just, not out Lombardo, but you just kind of have to just you got no time to slow down with these first couple of tracks. And I think it's like, here, I can play really fast. I can play really tight. Not so much dynamics on this song, but it's just straightforward, like punky. Like you kind of think like this would be a Jeff song because it's kind of more punky, but surprise, motherfucker, it's Carrie.
You don't cuss on this show.
Everybody cusses. We cuss all the time. I cuss right at the beginning.
Just because it's beer, metal, and swearing doesn't mean we do any of those things.
We did try for a while not to swear, and that failed epically. I think Sex Murder Art's a decent song. I second everything Omar said about the speed and the punkiness, and they didn't really write around, nor would they, but they didn't really write around Paul at all. They just kind of, here, we're making these songs and you play to them. Instead of, I still feel like somewhere in the past 50 years, 40 years, hey, Lombardo, here's this song. And how did he not put his own stamp on it? And how did they not give him credit?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
You said earlier that Jeff writes the drums.
He writes the drums to his songs. He writes complete demos for every song he makes.
Right. Look, I prefer Bostaph Slayer to Lombardo Slayer. That's Nik. Not anything past the first two. But based on what I'm hearing from Bostaph doing versus what I heard from Lombardo doing last week, we're not, to quote the greatest philosopher of all time, Jules, it ain't the same league, it ain't the same ballpark, it ain't the same league, it ain't the same fucking sport. And you're gonna tell me that Jeff wrote all that shit and then Dave just did what he... No. Moving on to track 3, Fictional Reality. Now we have Kerry King's Finest Hour in Slayer. This is a great song. He writes esoteric lyrics. It's a little bit metaphorical. He's not just singing what he feels, because you can't make your characters sing what they're feeling, because that makes me feel angry. That's from Futurama. And totally love this song. Everybody brings it. It feels like this was recorded like in order. Like, here's the first song they brought to Paul. Here's the second song they brought to Paul. Here's the third song. Each song, we get better and better Paul Bostaph. And I love Paul Bostaph, so I'm not ragging on him. But when you have an established band and brand and sound, and you bring in somebody who's completely different, it's not like when Vivian Campbell replaced the late Steve Clark. Vivian Campbell can play all those things. Paul Bostaph cannot play like Dave Lombardo, and vice versa. Nothing wrong with that. It's like Peter Criss and Eric Carr. Different drummers, different vibes, different everything. So when I say it's awkward, that's what I mean. It feels, and that's one of the things I love about this record. Is I love that awkwardness. I love that Amtrak-y, they're gonna get through it kind of song, kind of feeling. And Fictional Reality really sums that up for me, and I dig this track.
Yeah, there was some really good guitar work and some little drum break around the 2 minutes in, where the two dueling solos are just squealing back and forth. I was like, oh man, and Paul just keeping it on the ride, just keeping it simple, and they're just it just sounds so that song is just cool, man.
And on the next record, when they get to Diabolus and Musica, he really knows how to work that Slayer ride, which he doesn't know how to work it yet, but he gets it on the next record, and that's a big part of why that record is so great. Said what I said.
Here's what I will say about Fictional Reality. The only problem with Divine Intervention, which has very few problems, is it came out at the same time as Far Beyond Driven and a bunch of other previously aforementioned records that are amazing, and it had the misfortune of arriving at the same time as these other great records. COC Deliverance also I listened to nonstop that year. So, Fictional Reality, excellent song. Can't find faults with it. Probably some of the best guitar stuff on the whole record. Is it my favorite song on the record? No, but it's excellent.
Moving on into Ditto Head, this is their Rush Limbaugh song. I would also point out that it's kind of anti-constitutional. As we learned in the episode of King of the Hill, when Gus or Strickland Propane's mistress was murdered, he's probably going to get off on some pothead technicality. Well, Bobby, that's the Bill of Rights. So this is a very anti-Bill of Rights song. In 1994, I am 19 and a fucking moron. 19-year-old dudes don't realize how stupid they are, but they think they do. They absolutely have this maturity and this belief that, oh, no, I don't believe, I'm not right all the time, but I'm right now. And That's Dittohead lyrically speaking. Not always right, but I'm right this time. Anywho, moving forward, apart from the lyrics, which are terrible, I remember I'm up at 2:37 in the morning and MTV plays this, and I'm like, what the fudge? Wait a minute, what the hell was that? And it's only 2 minutes and 14 seconds long, basically. I'm sorry, 2:30. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds long, and it's like, wait, is that, I mean, at 2:30 in the morning, I had worked all night, and I'm like, I'm really tired. Was that, what? Was that Slayer? And then it was over. And so maybe I dreamed it. I don't know. I might not have actually seen it, but I think it happened.
That's the best part about Dittohead. Like you want it to be longer, but it's like nope. This is all you get. Just this little splash, and it's like wait again, because like another thing too, regret part where it goes from like single kick and then he just starts hitting that double kick and they go to that stop. Da 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 da. I was like, ooh, that's like one of the best. Like yeah, like, at the time I was like, this was like I came from Megadeth. So like my first band was Megadeth, then it was like Faith No More and Primus, and then like got into this, and I was like, man, I have not heard anything like this kind of like aggression at that time, and man, that video was cool, man. That was.
I think it was. I don't remember it. I remember it being dark.
It's a cool video now. It's like it's just all kind of like dated just because of quality, but it's funny to see like it's just a goatee. Kerry King. This is where Kerry was first wearing the baldy.
Yeah, the beginning of the baldy. Scott had already done it in Anthrax. I'm going to say two things. The shortest songs on this record seem to be the best ones, the last one notwithstanding. And definitely for that video, there's definitely whoever the video director was, probably Wayne Isham or some 90s guy like that. Definitely saw the Guns N' Roses, also Wayne Isham directed video for the Garden of Eden, where the band is way up in the camera and there's a lot of stuff going on. Because the shots of the band are like, there's a fire and it's burning and it's out of control. It's like right in your face, Guns N' Roses style. Like, I don't need Tom Araya's face this close to my face ever. But I also remember liking the video.
Alrighty, moving on into the title track, Divine Intervention. Slayer defying their own convention. Does not put the title track on the last track. And defying also Slayer convention, the title track's quite good. Seasons of the Abyss notwithstanding. And South of Heaven notwithstanding. I guess it's just that one, really. I'm sorry. Omar, cut
they're
this.
They're all pretty good. Hello 8, Straight in Blood. Like, which one is not good?
So, Show No Mercy.
Okay.
It's 8 minutes of awful. You know
That's
it.
fair.
We talked about it.
Go ahead.
Anywho, Divine Intervention. Paul Bostaph does something that Dave Lombardo has never done. Got a writing credit. I did not realize that everyone wrote the lyrics for this track.
It's a team effort sometimes.
It's actually, it's pretty good lyrics, if I'm being honest. Yeah. And Jeff and Carrie write the riffs as they do. Great song, 10 of 10, no notes.
Yeah, the way it starts, it's like all right, and that little break at the beginning where it's like before it gets into that kind of little like hi-hatty kind of like syncopated kind of little like mellow beat, I guess, for Slayer. Like, what the hell is this? And then like, okay, all right, but it was all new to me, so I was like, this is, oh my god, look at these dynamics. So I guess you could say this, if you were like, oh, if you listen to Season in the Abyss, look at all the dynamics and stuff we're doing over here in South of Heaven. I was like, I guess this is you could say this is kind of like almost their response to that. Because it's the most musically varied song on the record, you know? It's like, it's got, all right, look, hey, we're not showing off, but we're showing off.
Fair enough. I will say, yeah, great song. And I wonder why this song didn't get isn't still in the set list, or why they stopped playing. Like, I don't know that they ever played it much, but why didn't they
play for? I mean, I don't remember ever seeing anything from this album in their set list. And I mean, again, I only saw them after this.
I've heard a lot in this set list.
Yeah, Ditto had Sex, Murder, Art, and 213 were played for many years.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably not in the upcoming reunion shows.
Killing Fields, I've heard Killing Fields live. I've heard Sex, Murder, Art, Ditto Head, with Paul and Dave Lombardo playing it, which is very different.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I just don't remember the set list, and I got to go back and check.
If you have the Slayer box set, you actually hear like there's a live version on the box set of Lombardo doing Ditto Head.
I don't have. I have Rain and Blood, and I have Seasons in the Abyss.
Oh, okay. I will
I I only count what I have on vinyl at this point.
fair. I will say there's also like another another God Hates Us All. There's a God Hates Us All version of Lombardo, and it
Yeah, that was
is
on the Still Raining DVD.
yeah, it's so strikingly weird. Not weird. It's just like different. It's all right. Two drummers, different approaches. I was like so, parts I hear the crash cymbal on, like Paul, Dave's just like on the ride. I'm like, it doesn't have the same aggression to me. And I was like, hey, you're kind of, you're taking it easy
They're
here.
they're very different drummers.
And it's really
Also,
cool.
also, Dave was probably like every single drum beat of a Slayer song he had to play live that he didn't write. He was probably like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Because he just hated them. He hated doing the songs he didn't write. He insisted when he came back in the band, I will do no songs I didn't write. And they're like, yeah, no, that's not going to work, bro.
I'm a big fan of legacy. Like, it's like, hey man, it's not you, it's the band. If the band's got 10 records and you're on 3 of them, cool. I owe it to the fans to play these other songs that I haven't heard. And I'm big on that.
Oh, he didn't. Dave Lombardo did that with Testament too. He's like, yeah, I did 2 records with you. Let's play those on tour. There's about 200 other songs there, bro. Maybe let's play some Ritual. Let's play something off Low. I mean, Nick likes Low.
He did. I saw them for the Gathering record, and yeah, as most said, it was a heavy Gathering album because set.
I am gonna straight up listen to some Testament tomorrow. I have not listened to Testament in a minute. Anywho, moving on. Circle of Beliefs as a mid '90s pagan. I loved all songs that hit at the pomposity of the Christian religion. And I'm going to point out Kerry King writes the riffs and the lyrics, and I love this song. So all of the shade I've been throwing at Mr. Baldo, I take it back. You were, it just took it took some time for your flower to bloom. By the time I got into the mid 90s, a decade and a half in, you started bringing the goods. Thank you, Kerry.
I think it's a big combination of, I just feel like, yeah, they all have something to prove with this record. And yeah, there's nice guitar work on this record too, man. I was like, like Kerry's got some nice solos midway through the song too. Or is it Jeff? I forget the order of
They
who does
all
the solo
do.
first.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Paul Bostaph played a couple guitar solos in this record.
I'm not sure if this whole record is tuned down a step. I think it is the first record they actually tuned down forever. And I think that has to, it makes it feel meaner and more sinister somehow. And yeah, man, give Kerry his flowers. I think it's mean to say he never contributed. I just think Jeff's contribution is so gigantic, and then he died. So
It's
Jeff
like
is just
Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons, when he hits it, he hits it.
barely.
But most of the time, hey, come on now.
When I hit it, it's under 18 years old.
Oh shit, son.
I saw you coming out of school that day.
Stop. I will mute you.
I think it was okay in the 70s. I don't know.
It was way more okay than it should have been. That is for damn sure. I think back then it was just a fine. Jesus Christ, Superstar. Anyway, moving on. SS-3. I have no fucking clue what this song is. I have no recollection of it. I have listened to this album at least 258 times. Squiffy.
I don't know.
Let's see if Keefy.
It's kind of
okay.
slow. It's
Omar doesn't know it. Let Keefy talk.
Go ahead. I'll come back to it. Give me a second.
It's a mid-tempoer. I think one thing is because of that aforementioned new guitar tone and new tuning, the record does kind of sound samey on the second.
Okay, hang on. Can anybody else hear that white noise, or is it just me?
I hear it.
It's probably
It's gone.
my thing.
Okay.
I always hear Nick's good beer fridge in the background, but also I don't know. My backup hard drive is unplugged, so
And my clock.
Oh, could be.
My false staff. Oh, you can't see it in the
really
video
see
anymore.
it in the video, but it's the soft underbelly of the whole record. This one song.
Yeah, the one song is the soft underbelly.
It's that funky vocals on it.
Yeah, I
That
don't
like
care.
that kind of
You
funky,
don't
echoey
remember it.
kind of.
Nobody remembers this song.
I just remember it got like the little echoey kind of like underwatery kind of vocal.
No, we're 2 songs away. That's the next song. You're thinking of the next song, which is the best song on the record, Serenity and Murder. I will say this. This is the song, in my humble opinion, this is just Nick talking. Carrie didn't tell me. Jeff didn't tell me. Nobody told me. But I think this is the song left off of Seasons in the Abyss. Serenity and Murder would have fit perfectly on Seasons in the Abyss. And it's the best song on the record. If you don't like this song, you don't like Slayer. Period.
Word. I was like, no, this is the song that I was talking about. Like, it sounds like a baseball bat. Like, just like that snare drum. The attack is just so brutal. It's like, I was like, that's where it was. And I was like, what is he doing?
I think this song is why they started saying metal was brutal. I think it's the first time anybody ever said it about a song was this one.
Yeah, and then it was like, this is the first time I heard Tom sing. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wow, I didn't expect him to, sing cleanly. And I was like, he's got a nice voice. Then I found out about Dead Skin Mask, yada, yada. But man, like this was like, ooh, what's this? And it just kept the same groove. It wasn't, he was one of the first guys, I guess, for me to, I could sing cleanly and I could also scream. So he's one of those dual vocally kind of guys of the time. So you could say he kind of beat a lot of those vocalists.
Yeah, he beat Fear Factory to the race. Fear Factory.
Same year.
Did he beat Return to Serenity?
Oh no.
I don't know what that is.
Testament. But Chuck didn't become like a brutal singer until '96. He never sang death metal-y until Demonic. I will just chime in and say I agree. Serenity Murder, best song on the album. Another shorty, and so good they made it a maxi single or an EP thing with some.
And it's the right kind of shorty because you get that it's that bipolar where it's very calm. It's the metaphor of the calm discussing what he's going to do. And then the orgasmic, angry release of what he has done. That is the perfect serial killer song. Leading into this serial killer song, which isn't as good. Again, great song. However, the energy of Serenity and Murder would have worked far better for 213, which is, of course, a song about Jeffrey Dahmer, who the year prior had pleaded guilty to murdering, torturing, eating, and attempting to zombify several lovers. He had a thing.
It kind of could be like sonically, it's more in tune with you can say it's more like a sequel-ish, like a part 2 to Divine Intervention with the whole kind of atmosphere of that song. They kind of like A and B each other. It's like, oh no, or part 1 and part 2 each other.
Slayer loves to do that, but usually they do it like on different records. Like they did South of Heaven, which is a great song with dissonant chords, and it's this wonderful power ballad. Then on the next record, they did a power ballad with dissonant chords about killing things. That was called Dead Skin Mask. And on the next record, they do another power ballad with dissonant chords. This time it's called 213. So this is their iambic pentameter. This is the Slayer sonnet.
I guess. Go ahead, Omar.
I was saying that like it's a good headbanging song. It's like that nice slow headbang too. Like musically, like once the clean guitars like are over and it just starts kicking into like the riffs, and it's got some Paul is just I don't know, man. I think Paul just like crushed the whole record. It's like, hey, look, this is what Paul could do. We're just gonna let him go nuts. It feels like they kind of just let him just do whatever he wanted to do. It's like they trusted him enough from Forbidden to, hey, this guy can do our stuff. All right, let's go.
I think
Fair
213, yeah, 213 is my second favorite song on the whole record. It's a very strong end to the record for me, and I like all the things Nick pointed out that are weak about the song. I love. So we're just going to agree to disagree here. I think maybe because I love serial killers and I was definitely following the Dahmer case, but I thought it was super cool. I think there's like I agree about the Slayer lineage.
I married a woman that did murder cases that told me about her murders.
You should not be talking about this on the podcast, but go
Should
ahead.
not.
You bad Nick. Anyway.
I don't think there's no HIPAA violations there.
Yeah, but
No,
we've had this discussion before.
She also practiced it. She practices in a different name, so it's fine.
Anywho, Nick just trying to get us killed or banned or something. Last
Look,
song.
that stalker guy's not going to come back.
Tee it up. Oh, Jesus. Famous last words.
He doesn't know where we live now. It's fine.
And here now the news.
Excuse me. Keefy made me cough. I don't remember this song. Moving on.
Mind Control? You don't remember Mind Control?
Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't remember it. I don't. And I listened to this today. I did listen.
I like Mind Control a lot. Just because like there's some beats in here like Keith, if you remember one of my songs, Laceration songs, 3, our closing track, part of there's a beat in here that Paul did that I like totally like ripped off to like, I was like, oh, this, I know what to go here. Perfect. This part from this song. So it's like, yeah, I like this song is just special to me because it's like, oh yeah, I remember that's like, it inspired me to use a part of that for one of my own songs. And I thought it fit pretty well. And it's a strong song, but yeah, it's got a cool like, I guess it's kind of simple, kind of, it's more of a simpler riff, but it's still a fun song, man. I really like the way that song was.
It's almost like Slayer made a Metallica song. They're like, hey, this last song, we're going to chill it out a little bit and tamp it down a bit. But like I said, half the record is written by Jeff, and it's all the second half of the record, basically, except Circle of Belief. So I like Mind Control. It's not a song that I always go back to compared to the other ones, but I don't think it's forgettable or bad.
I didn't say I didn't like it.
You just didn't
I
remember.
said I just don't remember. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't remember this song.
No worries.
It's fair. I mean, it ends with like, like, I don't say it's like he's doing it ends with his little double bass, like just runs for like the final like riffs and stabs. He's just like, it's cool. Like, it's like that little, like, I'm just going to just do double bass. Like, look, listen, everybody, here's some clean double bass. It's not Rain and Blood, but here's just some straight bang. Grab a cymbal here.
What I would say about this album in general is it deserves 2 ratings. It's got the Slayer, as a Slayer album, it's 8 out of 10. As a Slayer album with a new member, it's 10 out of 10. There's a couple of songs that get a little squiffy. Not like awful, but it's kind of like Kiss Is Hotter Than Hell, where it's got like Mainline and All the Way, and they're not offensively bad, but nobody needs those songs, and those songs are not required. And that's kind of, for me, there's 2 out of 10 songs here that are not necessary. But if you take those out, it's a little bit too short, especially now that we are solidly into the CD era. Seasons in the Abyss was their first album in the legitimate CD era. And when we get into the CD era, an album goes from anywhere from 25 to 35 to 45 minutes to a minimum of 40. And we are still at only 36 minutes. 36 minutes, though, for me, is probably the right amount of Slayer for a record, because they're not real diverse. It gets punishing to listen to. So 8 out of 10 as a Slayer, 10 out of 10 as a new Slayer record.
Fair enough. I'm going to interject here and just jump in and say a quick thing, which is I'm going to ask a question to Omar that I have been holding on to. Because like Paul, I feel like Paul is much maligned by Slayer fans, unfairly so. If Paul was replacing Lou Clemente, the original drummer of Testament who could not play double bass, people would have been shitting themselves with how great this performance is. But because he had to follow Lombardo, the myth, the man, the legend, and all that is deserved, I feel like Paul has never gotten his flowers as a member of Slayer all this time.
Completely agree on all of
What?
that.
But Omar, the drummer, like as a drummer, like he doesn't suck at all.
No, like Paul is a beast, man. It's like he, it's like I wasn't a big Forbidden fan. Like I knew of them, I didn't really know them. So it was like Paul was like, oh, the Slayer guy. So he's my guy. So like when he left Slayer, eventually, yeah, the record he did with Exodus was great. It's like I wish, it's like he did one record with Testament, I think, like the later days. Because I remember like during Homeboy's cancer, phase, like they didn't really record much, but he was in the band during that whole time, and he did a lot of touring. Unfortunately, not enough recording with that lineup, which was really awesome.
Tom quit Exodus at one point, and Paul was the drummer. By the way,
Yes. Yeah, like
Wait, what?
he did Shovel-Headed Kill Machine.
There's two stints of Exodus's history where Tom quits the band completely, and Paul is the replacement.
Bostaph is drummer?
Yes.
Yeah, the Shovel-Headed Kill Machine record. The
Wait,
first
so
one
these
with,
two dudes have both so Lombardo and Bostaph have both been in Slayer and Exodus?
I don't think
No, Lombardo. No,
He's
he
in
was not
Exodus
in.
right now.
No, he's not. No, he was in.
Tom is back.
No, Lombardo's been in Slayer and Testament, and so has Paul.
Wait, did we say
They both-
Exodus?
Yes, you did.
I apologize. I'm
But
shutting
Paul's
But
been
like
in-
we made a good point about Exodus though.
yeah, yeah, he did that Shovel-Headed Kill Machine record, and then he went back to Slayer. Because but yeah, Paul. Oh man, Paul was. What else did Paul do? Shoot, I'm trying to remember the other Paul records. He did that Slayer record, he did the Testament record. Oh man, I don't want to hit up the. All I know is like whatever, man. That's like Paul, Jeff. God, too many.
Omar's not a
names.
big reviewer at Ghost Cult, but if you had to throw a grade on this, A, B, C, or D, or 1 out of 10 with no half marks, what would you give this? I guess Nick gave it an 8 of 10.
I don't know. I
I'm
might
going to
have to
average
give-
mine to a 9.
I might go 9 or 10 because 9 or 10. This is my first record, so I had no comparing. So like just go back to like teenage OJ. That was a record. I was like no notes. No notes with this record for me, man. Like when I first heard it, this is a record I would play along to for months. Like this is one of those records that I didn't skip a track. I still don't skip a track on this record. It's still like a great. It's still like to me, it's like a great record, man. Like I can't skip it. I like the sound of it. This like the production of it to me, like it just sounds. I don't say 90s, but it had this like kind of dirty. It feels dirty. It feels clean and dirty. Like the guitar tones are cleanish, but overall the mix just sounds like this cool dirty. It seems very LA. I don't know if that's the right word. Like that video, like the video for Ditto Head. Like that feels like that's how this record should sound.
I like that all the bands were trying to be grunge, and Slayer was like, nope, we're still Slayer. And Anthrax also was still Anthrax doing thrash and groove metal and stuff. And a lot of other thrash bands, including Exodus and Flotsam and Jetsam, who I love, they all went softer and tried to do post-rock, post-grunge or whatever sort of rock, and it failed terribly in most cases. And for me, this record's like an 8 because I wouldn't quite give it a higher grade, but I will say it's definitely not a bad record. The last 3 records for me for Slayer are like 10, 10, and 9. So like,
That's because you're kind.
I'm not kind. I'm actually brutally harsh. But
I'm honest and unmerciful.
I'm honest and merciful. If we had to, like, we didn't do a shirt tech, by the way, but if we're gonna
Tanuki Sushi.
okay, well, I mean, I have my goat horse shirt on. I don't know what shirt Omar's wearing. I can't tell.
Celine motherfucking Dion.
Really?
Oh, Letterkenny stuff.
Yeah. I went to go see Titanic the musical.
Oh, nice. Okay. So quickly, if we're going to rank this, let's rank it quickly. I'm going to say Seasons, Divine, Rain, South, Hell, show.
You really have Divine Intervention above Rain and Blood and South of Heaven.
Yes.
Wow.
So
South
do
of
I.
Heaven is too short. It's too short.
I think it may be just like the
It barely
familiarity.
counts over Hell Awaits. I'm sorry, it barely counts over Live Undead. It barely counts over Haunting the Chapel. Said what I said.
I'll go crazy. I'll say, yeah, Divine Intervention, Undisputed Attitude, because I like all that stuff, man. And it's like Gemini is
Well, no,
probably...
Undisputed Attitude is not part of this. We didn't do it.
Well, if I have to, well, let's see.
The
Yeah,
ones we did.
the ones
basically.
you guys did. So I would say, yeah, Divine Intervention. Which one's got Black Magic on it? I like that one.
Hell Awaits.
Yeah, that one's fun. I like that one. Rain and Blood, and I think, yeah, the other two could flip flop. You know, Seasons and South of Heaven could flip flop for me. It's like I get.
You are dead to me.
I'm so over like War Ensemble. I was like, oh,
I told you.
That's the one song.
And Chemical Warfare.
No,
Chemical. I've heard those
what?
songs so many times. I was like, yo, take these out. Give me something else.
Okay,
You can
I'm
play
going to quote Ray
song off that
Manzarek.
album.
Ray Manzarek has asked, do
Mix
you
it
ever
up,
get tired
man.
of
You got too
playing
many
Light
songs.
My Fire? And he says, that's like saying, do you get tired of making love? That's War Ensemble.
I'm like, yo, you could play another song. You could pick any other song on that record and fill in for that song because
No.
it's been like, I don't know. It's like there's certain songs in their set list that just been played too much to my ears. You know, it's like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to hear Rain and Blood.
I need
Whatever,
you to stop
expect
ruining
hear
my
Rain and
childhood.
Blood.
Maybe we have Omar come back on a week, do Undisputed Attitude, and just see. Because
I'll
I
do
think
Undisputed Attitude and Diablos because I think Diablos is fucking fire.
well, we'll see.
Bitter-
I think
that-
we're kind
that
of
album
slayer.
ends
We're
good.
slayered out
Now
after
you
like
can't do it because you already spoiled it.
7 Slayer records and 2 EPs are pretty burnt right now on Slayer. But
I'll say this. Hold on. I'll give you this real quick. Live, like when Lombardo was in the band after Paul left in the early 2000s, and he was there, they played like 3 or 4 songs, like Stand of Mine, you know, God Hates Us All, and like one other song from that one. Sometimes Payback. You know, I've heard, you know, those are the ones that they kind of stuck to playing Paul songs. Those songs were consistently in the set list when I saw it. But when Paul came back, I was like, yes, Paul's gonna come back. Oh, I want to hear all these old songs I haven't heard in like forever. Cause I've seen them ever since they started doing Undisputed Attitude and tours. I've seen them consistently since then. So not hearing like Gemini or Divine Intervention, I was like, oh man, I missed these songs. I was so happy. I was expecting to hear these songs again, and nope. I didn't hear any of that stuff. So I was very like disappointed in Slayer for a while when they came back with Paul. I was like, oh, I feel like you're just skipping over your whole career. You know, it's like, oh, cool, we'll get God Hates Us All occasionally, but you know, which is a banger track, but you know, like this is my era of stuff. And I'm glad I got to see him back in like, you know, the 90s when they were like heavy, like, it's our new record, we're gonna play the crap out of this record. And I was like, I'm glad I was like, yeah. I don't expect to see here's a 30th anniversary of Divine Intervention, everybody. Boom, you know. As much as I would personally love that, I don't know how many other people would love that. And I will give them a little credit. Because Paul Bostaph is 60 years old and he's still crushing it. And it's like, I love that guy. He's a nice guy too. I met him a few times. Great guy.
super great guy. Really quick, and thank you, Omar. That was great. Rain and Blood. How could it not be your number one? Something's wrong with you if it's not. South of Heaven from me because that's always been my favorite. Technically, Seasons, Hell Awaits, Divine Intervention, and then anything else. And that includes everything we didn't do, by the way. I am the one person in the whole world that liked Repentless a lot. I still think they should have let Gary
And you
co-write
say
it.
there's something wrong with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And World Painted Blood's not bad. Christ Illusion's horrible.
Wrong.
Repentless just needed a
wrong
better
and then
mix,
correct.
in my opinion.
Just needed another guitar voice in there. Should have let like Gary write like 3-4 songs, co-write.
I heard the title track, and the problem is you have Carrie writing way too much. You've got a resource. You choose to pee in the resource so nobody else can drink that water. It is what it is. Alrighty, Omar.
Didn't they flip flop between writing between albums? Like one would write more on this record, and one would write on.
I was gonna mention that, but I didn't. But yes, there's definitely a thing, not on purpose, but it happened this way, where there would be like a Jeff album where he came in with more ideas, or a Kerry album. I think Divine, which is usually attributed to Kerry, is really also another Jeff album, but it is also half Kerry.
Can anybody see my facial hair, or am I just completely overshadowed by the beards?
I think
I
it's
see
just
your
beard
facial
envy.
hair.
Beard
All right,
envy.
cool.
I see it.
Omar.
You're getting there. I believe in you.
Wow, I'm almost 50. Omar, thank you very much for joining us this week. It has been a lovely time. Your correct views on most of this record have been greatly appreciated by me. Keefy is wrong. That is fine. I find that to be a normal state of belief. Keefy, as always, this is one of my favorite. This might be my favorite hour of the week. However, we've gone an hour and 20, which makes me hate it. But, you know, I have to pee. That's why I hate it, because I really, really gotta pee. So, Omar, thank you. Keefy, thank you. Listeners, double, triple, quintuple, septuple headspin, thank you. I've got two New York guys on the podcast this week, so I'm throwing out all of my New York references, which are all from Futurama. I'm sorry. The septuple headspin, parachute pants, you know what we're talking about, New York. Thank you, everybody, for listening this week. If you could take 3 seconds and like, subscribe, comment, share, that would be amazing. And, you know, we're a small content. We are not part of a giant podcast network. We are not featured on whatever website you go to that is not Ghost Cult. We are not featured on all of these amazing things. Nobody's writing articles about our podcasts, but you could tell one friend, and that would be great. But as we say on the weekly, thank you for listening. This has been the Glacially Musical Podcast. It does not play in Peoria.
You can have the last word, Omar, if you want to.
You've been great. I've been great. We're out.